Hello everybody, welcome back to the Limit of Adhesion Season 2. This is round 9 of the championship. My name is Gareth and joining me as always in the commentary box is Jim. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Gareth. How are you?
Yeah, excellent, thank you. We have stayed in the States for round 9, travelling from Lyne to Summit Point. And a reminder as always that you can check out the limitofadhesion.com website for all of the news, reviews, articles and the videos of course. Let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship then, after round 8. David Lyne now taking over the lead of the championship from Rob Miller. Gavin Kelly remaining in 3rd position. James Garlick up to 4th and Winslade moving up to 5th after his win. Tranter now in 6th, Batty 7th, Richards in 8th, Bibby and then Dixon in 10th. And looking further down we can see that Gary Jones is now 24 points up and Kim Lee is now in 12th. Ahead of Hankin, Aaron Jenkins, Burnett and Hollick. Jim, talk us through the teams.
Yeah, Stupid Guru have extended their lead a little bit with Kelly and Batty having a great finish last time out. So KCMT are the chasing team now, but they're still ahead of Williams, who aren't too far behind, and Little and Large also doing very well. Then we've got Dirty Legends in 5th, Verge of Grip 6th, Alpha Blobby now with Dixon are in 7th, and Lucky Bibbs are in 8th.
Great, thanks Jim. Now let's take a look at what happened after Lime Rock. The drama at Lime Rock didn't end at the checkered flag. The league rules mean that all car contacts are reviewed by our independent stewarding panel. The stewards have 3 incidents to review from the race. The Ledge and Paul Dixon incident at turn 1 on lap 1, the accident involving Mark Tranter, Rob Miller, Tony Hankin, Stephen Batty and Gary Richards on lap 2 at turn 1, and the Gavin Kelly and Gareth Winslade collision into turn 4 on lap 13. While the multi-car pile-up was judged to be a racing incident, Aaron Jenkins and Winslade both picked up a warning for their contacts. Winslade accepted his second warning and will start from the back of the grid at Summit Point. Lawrence chose to appeal and submitted the equivalent of 1.5 pages of A4 to Gavin to forward to the stewards. He argued that because the contact was not clearly visible, Dixon did not receive wheel damage and Dixon's wing and nose fell off once Lawrence's car had stopped driving over them, that the accident was a netcode error and should be discounted. Despite the initial contact being front wheel to rear wheel, Lawrence claimed he believed he had passed Dixon, that if he had slowed any more to avoid him he would have spun, that he was slowing and going to the inside to avoid Dixon, and that he was performing an overtaking manoeuvre. All of these are contradictory statements. This perhaps shows that the Ledge did not understand that he was not being penalised for the secondary contact, but for the initial unclear contact that pitches Dixon into a spin towards his own car. And while it was unfortunate that differences between computers mean that the contact is hard to see, the resulting car movement and the noise of the impact are clear. Lawrence also claimed that as Dixon had gone on to finish 9th while he had finished last, that the incident had had no bearing on Dixon's race. This is obviously not true, as Dixon had to pit for repairs and so missed out on being able to take advantage of the big pile-up a lap later. And Lawrence's finishing position was due to his own 2 crashes in the final corner. Finally, Lawrence cited the Batty and Winslade incident from Oran Park, which he felt was the same as his incident, even though that was a front-wheel to front-wheel incident in very different circumstances. However, before the stewards could consider his appeal, Lawrence had made the decision to quit the league. Winslade was left with no teammate and decided to close the Dirty Legends team so that team will score no further points this season. And after weighing his options, Winslade has now replaced Will Burnett at Verge of Grip. Will move to being a privateer for any remaining races that he features in this season. So Verge of Grip are now Mark Tranter and Gareth Winslade.
Thanks for that, Gareth. That's some unfortunate news there for Dirty Legends and the Ledge, but hopefully we'll see the Ledge return for Season 3, or if not, at some point in the future of a Limit of Adhesion. Now we're watching the cars go round for the qualification session right now, and it's probably a good time for me to give you a run around this track. We're still in the States, and this time in West Virginia. No mountain mamas here though, with the flat long main straight leading into the heavy braking zone of turn 1 where slipstreamers could pass. Anyone who overtakes here though might find themselves defending on the curly straight run up to the Wagon Wheel, where the gravel on exit will be waiting for anybody who gets it wrong. A slowdown trip through the legendary Safari Park section concludes with Paddock Bend, which needs a quick exit to maximise the speed taking you down the main straight to complete the lap. And that exit speed benefit is exactly what we're seeing on board with our pole lap from Keith Chegwin Memorial Team's David Lyne. He could also be benefiting from a slight slipstream from Hankin up ahead. You're braking just before the 2 marker there, maybe at 3, and Lyne goes down to second. Some drivers might go to first as we go past into the curly straight and on our way down to Wagon Wheel, where you'll be aiming to go on the right hand side to make that as straight a line as possible. And you can take a bit of the curb on entry, as Lyne does, and then he takes a lot of curb on exit, and you'll see already some tyre marks in the gravel. And Hankin up ahead spraying some up. Now you're going to go left to again keep as straight as possible. You can go into this Safari Park section. It's a really heavy braking zone in here. Lyne making use of all the curb, and then again you can stick down into first gear, and it's tight and twisty, this section of the track. This is quite slow, and Lyne again aggressive on the curbs, but it really works for him. And then you're going to go right as we exit through the Safari Park section, and again now you're going to go straight as you're looking for your braking point on the left hand side. You go downhill after this bridge, and you want to just take some speed off and then try and go as quick as possible on exit, take all of the runoff past the curb, and then you're going down the long main straight once again. And David Lyne on the front row where he usually is with a 1:21.262. And that lap gives Lyne his 4th pole position of the season and his first in this second half, with Kelly alongside on the front row for his 4th consecutive race. Like last week, Little and Large's Miller and Hankin are again on the same row. This time that's row 2, with Hankin less than a tenth behind his teammate. Stupidiguri's Batty is in 5th place, and Richards enjoys his highest start in his LOA career with 6th. Solid midfield qualifier Tranter starts in 7th. The Verge of Grip driver has started in 5th, 6th or 7th at all races this season. Garlic is in P8 and is out-qualified by his teammate for the first time. Kimberly and Dixon of Alpha Blobby share the row once again, with Kimberly in 9th, Dixon in 10th, and Jones starts ahead of Winslade on the back row, Winslade making his first appearance with Verge of Grip with a pre-race penalty.
Thanks, Jim. That's exciting qualifying there, and another pole position from David Lyne. He has done well this season. And here we are then on the grid for round 9 of the championship at Summit Point. Lights gone red. Engine starting to rise. Green light, we are racing at Summit Point, and it's a good start from Dave. Looking to cover off Gavin Kelly straight away, and that's a fast start from Miller behind as well. He's getting past his teammate Hankin on the outside. As we come down to T1, looks like Gavin is actually ahead now of Lyne. Can he hold it around the outside? It's going to be brave stuff. And look at that. Gavin Kelly into the lead from the line. What a fantastic start he's had. And that's Miller now looking at Lyne down to T3. Oh, contact there. Contact, and that's Miller into the gravel trap, and he's going to fall down the order there. That's unfortunate.
That's a lot of kitty-litty there for Miller, wasn't it? It was never going to get 2 cars through that corner. It's very difficult at the best of times, let alone when you're on the outside.
Yeah, great point. And look at that, Mark Tranter then, another superb start as we've seen all season long. He's now up to P4. That was him getting past Stephen Batty there. Batty now in 5th place.
It really doesn't take him long to gain those positions. I don't think there's been a race so far where Tranter hasn't jumped up the positions from, like I say in the guide, or his midfield starts.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see. Oh, look at that. That's Gary Richards getting all sorts of sideways there. And his teammate just behind him. And they're going side by side now on the run to the final corner. And look at that, yeah, Garlic now ahead of Richards. And that's, oh, ow, that's not good to see. That's a double spin there for Kimberley and Winslade, and Jones crashing into the Alpha Blobby.
Sickening crunch, that noise, wasn't it? That did not sound good.
No, I didn't like the sound of that. And look how far Kelly has pulled away from Lyne now, with Hankin now in P3. He had a great race last time we were here in the Radicals. Tranter now challenging Hankin.
Yeah, Kelly's looking very, very comfortable so far. He's really extended the lead already, so taking Lyne off the front row. I just thought he was going to slide off into the kitty litter there, as he's got Batty doing so instead.
Yeah, that's his teammate going through.
And seeing the cold tyre has been impactful as well, like you're calling out with the Williams drivers ended up side by side thanks to Richards struggling a little bit on the final part of this track. And then I'm guessing both of those drivers that we saw spin, Winslade and Kimberley on the last corner, also struggling with the cold tyres.
Yeah. So it was turn 9, I believe, that Richards was soaring away at the wheel as the pass was made in turn 10 Paddock Bend. Here we go then. So it's coming up to the end of the second lap already. And Hankin is starting to have a look at David Lyne in second place.
Yeah, Hankin's doing great guns, isn't he? Qualifying up in 4th place. Of course, Miller with the running off wide is now what's going on the inside.
Yeah, Lyne defending and Hankin to the inside then as they come up to T1.
Made it stick, and
look
like
at
Tranter's going to
Tranter.
get his way through as well. Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing.
David Lyne slipping further and further back.
What's going on with Lyne's pace then this race? He's nearly into the back of Tranter as he comes to T3, but no harm there.
Well, of course, he had his incident with Miller earlier, but I don't know if there'd be any damage. It looked fairly square on, but yeah, you're quite right. He's dropped down from 1st to 4th place in the space of 2.5 laps.
Yeah, and he lost the lead before he even had that contact with Miller. Speaking of Rob is now down in 8th place currently. So let's see what he can do to recover.
Yeah, I have to say Miller did very well to keep it out of the wall, kept it fairly straight and didn't lose that much time in the end. It's obviously lost a lot of positions, but he could have easily have been, 15 seconds back or more.
Yeah, great point. We all remember Gavin Kelly dropping it there in Season 1 in the Radical, and that was a colossal disaster for him in that race. So as we come out to complete lap 3 then. It's quite a short lap here, not quite as short as Lime Rock obviously, but we're seeing 121s already then from Gavin.
Trying to pulling out to try and make a move on Hankin, wanting to get second place as he moves up the order.
Well, nice and clean on the way in.
Yeah, that slipstream we're already seeing just seems to be quite powerful, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Gary Jones was towed at the end of that first lap then because of the contact with Kimberley. That's unfortunate. So he can get back on track soon.
Thought we might have seen Hankin try and get a little switch back there, but Tranter seemed to hold on. But yeah, a bit of a lock up there from Tranter. And Hankin running a really high 3rd place. It's despite him joining for the first race this season. This is only his 5th race, thanks to being away for some other the races we've had this season. So we've not actually seen the full Tony Hankin. I don't think his championship position is probably not reflective of his talent, and we're seeing it now and how much we've missed him.
No, you're absolutely right there. Yeah. So the question now then is, can Stephen Batty then get through David Lyne as well? There's a bit of a gap forming there back to James Garlick and Gary Richards behind him. And in fact, that's turning into a bit of a train there. So it's Garlick, Richards, Miller and Dixon. And as we see, is that Richards pulling out on his teammate?
There's people pulling out everywhere by the looks
yeah.
of it.
Look at that.
Trying to go through the inside of Tranter on turn 1. And
we're going 3 wide. 3 wide behind him. Sorry to cut you off, Jim. Look at Miller. Has just taken both Williams in one corner. That is incredible. Oh, he hasn't quite got the job done though. That's Richards has defended, it looks like. But that means that, so James Garlick has just been shuffled down 2 places by his teammate and by Miller. Fantastic racing we're seeing from these guys. Dixon holding on behind him as well.
Yeah, it's really good, that turn 1, isn't it? You just can have that switch back. So we saw Miller, like you quite rightly say, go 3 abreast and then get himself up into that'd be 6th place ahead of both the Williams drivers. But of course, Richards was able to make it stick on the way back. So it's a tremendous place for overtaking and then re-overtaking afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a replay then from lap 1. Kimberley and Winslade getting squirrely and losing it. Ow. Poor old Jones there, just unsighted and smashed front wheel. So probably no way through.
It's more poor old Chegwin. It looked like his face fell off.
Yeah, they're on board now. Ow, that's not. I don't think there was much that Gary could have done there to get out of that one.
Actually, quite fortunate that Kimberley didn't have more damage.
Yeah, and then that's a replay at turn 1. Then Kimberley turning the wrong way, so you obviously got a bit of imbalance going on in the car there.
Yeah, that lap is not looking that good. That straight at the start and the end seems to be a bit of a problem for Kimberley, who's now 48 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, Winslade we saw with him 22 seconds back. Wow. Those two not having a bit of a race to forget there. But talking of races to remember, look at what's coming around this main straight then. So that's Hankin to the inside of Tranter. Lyne also having a little look. Miller getting the job done on Richards. Has he done it? Richards getting the fight back though, out of the corner again.
And now it's Hankin on the inside as we go to the Wagon Wheel. With Tranter going on the outside. Of course, we saw Lyne and Miller hit each other here. But these guys, Hankin makes it stick. And now Lyne's on the back of Tranter.
Yeah, Lyne seems to have woken up all of a sudden. Let's see what he can do. And yeah, looks like you see Miller in the background there has made the move on Richards. This is some tremendous racing we're seeing here from, well, P2 all the way down to P8. Well, P9, sorry.
That static shot, when people talk about trains, it did look like a train. Those cars looked almost connected, didn't they?
Incredible stuff, yeah.
So Gavin Kelly seems to be quite fortunate at the moment. All this action behind him. He's got a 3-second advantage. He's missing out on all of the fun. You see him just go past there. But you've got Hankin, Tranter, Lyne, Batty, all just within a couple of tenths of each other. It's tremendous racing.
Yeah, I mean, you see Gavin just took the fastest lap of the race then, 121.69. And 122.3 his last lap. So we see then, that's Tranter on the outside against Hankin again. Around the outside, hanging on.
I had to breathe in then to make sure they didn't hit each other.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. And look how close Lyne is now to the back of Hankin and going to the inside as they come to the wagon bend. To back out of that one.
Yeah, I think he might have learned from earlier that might not actually work after we saw Miller come off a little bit of a cropper out of it. The bat is now on his tail.
Yeah, and did you see how Batty was really struggling over the gravel there? And I think there's been contact. Look at the rear wing of Lyne's car. So I think Batty just clonked him in that turn 3 wagon bend.
Might not be too much damage, but we have seen, you mentioned earlier, Lyne's pace seemed to be off, so we didn't see any damage with Miller. Might have a bit of damage with Batty, but the Hankin and Tranter battle, which just seemed to be endless, that doesn't seem to have impacted Lyne at all with regards to keeping on the tail of those two.
No, exactly, yeah. And we see further down then that Paul Dixon has got past James Garlick, who's now fallen down to 8th position. But look at that, Richards is down to 9th. So I think we should hopefully get some replays and see what happened then. Look at this then. Tranter and Hankin once again down to T1. Oh no! Ooh. Contact this time. That's so unfortunate. How much damage has Hankin got?
Yeah, Hankin sliding down, and yeah, he's just seeing Dixon, Richards, Garlick all getting the way through, and Hankin now down to 9th place after that. But just looking across, trying to still retain 2nd somehow. He must have really been fortunate how those two cars came together.
Yeah. Batty having a look now as we come down into the Safari Park T5 on Lyne. Miller really closing in on them now, so he's been very fortunate to recover from his travails early on. He's now up to 5th again.
Yeah, you're seeing Kelly just extend his lead. 4 seconds on Tranter now. Tranter doesn't have to deal with Hankin, so we'll see if that comes down. But you're completely right. Miller has been very fortunate that all these cars ahead of him have been fighting, and look, he's just right on the back in 5th place. So it's right in the back of Batty already, and give it another 2 laps, I think he'll be fighting with Lyne and Batty for what will be 3rd place.
Yeah, exactly. And we see now, look, Richards lining up Dixon as they come onto the main straight, so we're going to see another slipstream battle. I'm sure last time we saw these guys that Richards was ahead of Dixon and Garlick, so we had to see. The order is changing all the time in these 3. Incredible drives they're having.
Yeah, this is what we want to see. The slipstream seems to be quite powerful on this track, and it seems just to be making the order swap all over.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Dixon's held on then, but Garlick is now ahead of Richards. What is going on with those guys?
Amazing racing this. We hopefully get some replays of that, but yeah, we're concentrating now. Batty looking on the inside of Lyne again. That's a bent rear wing that you mentioned, a good close-up of it as we're on Batty's nose right now. This Safari Park section is so tight and twisty, and We saw Lyne on his pole lap taking all the curbs, spitting up some grass there into the car, into the camera angle we've got. So it's this point now, which is pretty much the crucial bit of the track from what we've established, that Batty needs to get a good run out of this final corner. He takes it, he doesn't go as wide as I thought he might on entry. He goes very wide on exit, but this is where the slipstream that I mentioned can be so powerful. So we'll see how close he can get to Lyne, who's already going defensive as we make our way to T1.
Yeah, sending him to the outside, that's sensible.
Batty breaks a bit earlier, quite sensibly. But look, this is a switchback that I mentioned earlier. Now we're onto the curly straight. And we cut away and see who gets that move done. And you mentioned Gary Richards. Is this why he's fallen further down the field?
Yes. So Richards sliding sideways into T1 then. That was Dixon scampering through, and presumably we'll see his teammate going to the outside and gets through.
Yeah, Richards didn't seem to put much of a fight up there, did he?
But talking of fighting, look, that's Stephen Batty then. He's alongside Lyne. But as they come to T3, Lyne stays ahead.
I just wonder... Oh, God, Batty's right up on the back of Lyne now.
But that'll be delightful for Miller. He'll be planning a 2-for-1 special if he can sort this out. I mean, a double slipstream down that straight is going to be rockets fuel.
Yeah, how many 2-for-1 specials does Miller want after we saw him go 3 abreast into turn 1 earlier? It could happen again now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wonder if Richards just letting Garlic go past, if he might have just fought that position a little bit more had it been another drive for another team. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but yeah, now he's slipped his way back into 8th place.
Yes. But looking to get past Dixon for 7th in the Alpha Blobby team. So we're on board with Batty now, heading down the main straight. Look at that. I'm looking for 2 battles at once, and yeah.
I need an extra set of eyes, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, and 2 mouths.
Yeah, Lyne seems to have escaped at this time, but it's Miller on the back of Batty. Miller, of course, who went off into the wagon wheel where we are now, so you might think a bit better of trying an overtake, but when you're into the safari park, you have that heavy braking zone of the left-hand hairpin. It might be there where you can sneak through. Be ambitious if anybody does get through there, but Miller's fallen back a little bit, so it won't be on this lap.
No, and I should point out that if you're new to the limits of adhesion, we call this section of the track the safari park, just because to us it really does look like a safari park with the fencing and there's some sort of stable blocks as you come past, and it really does look like you could be at Windsor or, well, that's a bit of a throwback, Woburn, shall we say.
Yeah, there's a couple of jackasses I'm sure you can see around there as well to really make it authentic.
And of course, if you are new to the limit of adhesion, welcome along. Hope you're enjoying the race.
Yeah, I would have to say to any newbies, if you are watching, this is pretty standard stuff actually. There are very few dull races in limit of adhesion, and we've got a top 5 at the moment, always giving us cracking action.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the videos, and do check out the website limitofadhesion.com.
New races every Sunday.
Absolutely. So here we can see then that's we're now looking down at David Lyne in P3 with Stephen Batty, that's the orange, white and green car, in P4, and Rob Miller in the chrome Mercedes livery in P5 as we come down to turn 5. You can see how
Nothing
tight
doing
that
this
corner
lap,
is.
it? Yeah, it's a great, this overhead's great to show you just the kind of tight, twisty corners you've got on this track. And Tranter's not really scampering away like I thought he might. Had that clean air after coming together with Hankin, and I thought he might have been slowing down because of fighting with Hankin, but Lyne really, Lyne's kept up with him. He's not right on his tail yet, but just takes one slip up, and wow, just see Richards and Dixon fighting behind. Yeah, just non-stop action this, isn't it?
Dixon slightly wide. That's Richards having a race down to the final corner, but You assume he's going to be better off waiting for the for the main straight, sorry.
We've seen over and over how powerful the slipstream is, and Richards might be giving us a demonstration now as he lines up Dixon and pulls onto the inside.
And into the braking zone. That's the move done, but we're waiting for that switchback. Dixon chooses to go to the outside. Oh, look at that. It's great bit of driving from Richards there, just to shut the door to Dixon. But look, on the run down to T3, and he's left Dixon on the outside. Sorry, Richards on the outside, Dixon but thought better of it, and that's some great driving from the pair of them there. Well done, guys.
Yeah. I think Dixon's probably wise to let that one go, and he'll know if he can keep it tight through the safari park, then he'll have another chance to claim the position back. And I don't know, just at turn one, if you heard it as well, that it just sounded like there's a bit of contact. So I don't know if we'll see a replay or not, or maybe my ears are deceiving me. But in any case, we've got Richards through now, and Garlic is scampering away from both of them a little bit.
No, I missed that, so that's annoying. I hope we do get a replay and hear it. So here we are then, that's our leader just disappearing out of shot. Mark Tranter in second, David Lyne third, Stephen Batty still close behind him in P4. And Miller's sort of just having a watching brief really in fifth. He's not like closing onto the back end of these two as I thought he would be. Oh, and look at that, that's Tranter going up the bank there as well on the way out of the corner. So Mark Tranter losing it in T1, sorry. This is a replay of James Garlic getting through on Dixon.
So this was a while before, I guess.
Absolutely,
we saw Dixon and Richards, of course, didn't we? So Dixon, Garlic outbrakes himself. Dixon's looking on the inside. And I see the aftermath of Tranter now. You can see the smoke kicked up from further up the track at turn one. Now he's down in fifth place.
Well, that's unfortunate for Mark. He was on for a really good result there. And that's left David Lyne then up into P2. But look at that gap. Nearly 6 seconds to Gavin Kelly in the lead.
Yeah, Kelly's seemed to have ran and hid a little bit, hasn't he? Just unchallenged from when he took first place on the first corner. And he's just ran away with it. It's a commanding performance so far.
Well, absolutely. And we're looking at just over eight laps to go, and Dave's advantage in terms of lap time is only looking like 2/10. But Stephen Batty with the fastest lap now, look, 121.1. Dave looks like he's matched his 121.2 qualifying pole.
I don't know if you caught it just before we saw Tranter's spin as well, but we had, I think it was Tranter, Lyne and Batty all in a row just taking fastest lap and fastest lap. As we can see, the cars get a little bit lighter, the tyres staying warm, and all of them, well, aside from Tranter as it was, benefiting from the slipstream, but they seem to be pulling each other forwards.
Yeah. That slipstream really does help. So we're on board with David Lyne now, looking back at Stephen Batty. And this is such a challenging corner to take in any car. And then the plunge down the hill to turn 5. Thought Batty was thinking about a little look there, but he thought better of it.
It's a great angle just to see the different sort of lines you take. You can see Batty's going much shallower into this section of the safari park. Lyne, of course, we've seen take a lot of the curb as we saw on the pole lap, and again where Batty just staying off the curb right there. Make our way into the final corner, and this is where we'll see any slipstreaming happen. So that gap to Batty we can see, you can see the difference in corner there. Batty can now maybe take some inroads and take some time out of Lyne. Probably a bit too far back to take him into turn one this time, but he'll close that gap. As you can see him just slowly creeping up.
You're right about the whole sort of taking your time, because there's a pretty big slipstream effect from turn 9 down to turn 10, but you're definitely better off like biding your time to do it on the finals, on the main straight. Once you get out of the final corner. We see the Batty looking close again. And what fight has Mark Tranter left in him? Can he still fight back and try and get back onto the back of Rob Miller?
Yeah, Rob Miller just keeping himself to himself after that early off, and I just wonder if he'll be thinking where he could be if it wasn't for that incident on the first lap, because he's running up in 4th place now, so sniffing a podium, but that's after losing a good, 6, 7, 8 seconds after running wide, or after being pushed a little bit wide from Lyne.
Yeah.
So he's really could have had a completely different race. Not that it's too bad as it is, but he's been commanding since he's rejoined. You've seen him overtake the 2 Williams cars, Dixon. Tranter obviously span off the track, but yeah, he's right on the back of these. Well, I was going to say the lead pack, but the pack behind the leader.
Yeah, but the crucial thing is, though, Rob is actually 14 points behind Dave in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, and Dave is 2 positions ahead of him on track, so Rob really needs to...
Batty's gone really wide there.
Oh, no! Well, okay. Let's start that
changes everything, yeah. That's not 2 positions anymore.
Rob's only 1 position behind Dave.
Control Z that one.
So it's only a 3-point gain for Dave, which isn't too bad, but I think Rob really should try and get the hammer down and try and close in on Dave now. 5 laps remaining.
We're going into a replay now, so this is Tranter. When was this?
So this is when he dropped it.
This is a spin, of course.
Yeah, spinning out from P2.
Now this is on board of Tranter now as he's trying to recover from that. So he's right on the tail of Batty. And that stupid Aguri must be really quite inviting for Tranter to think about getting onto that main straight that we keep mentioning.
Yeah.
You keep it nice and tidy as we exit the safari park into the forest. We go under the bridge and you'll be looking at these different lines again. We've seen Batty and Lyne take completely different lines into that last corner. Let's see how Tranter and Batty do it. It's fairly similar, but this is where you can see Tranter really benefit. He pulls out of the slipstream, goes to the inside, which Batty's left quite open for him. I think he might have wanted to defend that earlier, but Tranter now, well, he's got the position according to the timing screens, but he has to stop the car.
Let's wait for the switch back. He's covered the inside nicely there, though, so is Batty going to go left?
Batty's as close as you can be, isn't he?
Yeah.
Looked like one car for a second.
Wow, that's incredible. So Mark Tranter then up to P4, Batty down to 5th, and then we're looking down the order a little bit. We've got James Garlick in 6th, Gary Richards, his teammate, is in 7th, Paul Dixon is running in 8th, Winslade is running in 9th, and Hank in 10th, so I guess he had to pit after that T1 incident with Tranter. Obviously that will be going to the stewards after the race. And then we've got Kimberley running in 11th place, and Gary Jones has retired in 12th.
We saw this then when you're running through that, Batty locking up big time as we entered the safari park into that hairpin. So he thinks he's got the pace to get back on Tranter after losing the position. So yeah, I don't think Tranter's going to run away from Batty at this point. Batty's now the one that's benefiting from the slipstream as we go down the long straight once again.
Their pace is very similar as well, if you look at the timing screen. So yeah, this is just going to go hammer and tongs till the end of the race. Speaking of the end of the race, David Lyne has taken over 1.5 seconds, nearly 2 seconds out of Gavin Kelly in the last 4 laps. Kelly just does a 1:22.6 last lap, Lyne 1:21.8.
Well spotted indeed. 3.5 laps to go. Lyne at 3.7 seconds behind. Let's see how he starts to close that.
Yeah.
Kelly's last lap 1 second slower than his best as well. I just wonder if that's indication of a problem. Maybe he's had an off or something.
And look, that gap is just continually coming down now. As we look at Tranter and Batty in the safari park once again.
I'd get dizzy if I looked at a lap by lap chart of the positions of this race. It's just been, well, apart from the sereneness of Kelly at the front, it's just been incessant, hasn't it? All the action we've had.
Yeah, an angular Jackson Pollock. So 3 laps to go then, and the gap now 3.3 seconds from Kelly to Lyne. And here we go.
Look at the lap times there. Batty's going to look on the inside. I don't think he'll make it work. But just looking at the lap times of you got Batty there of 121.5, Mark Tranter 121.5. These guys are absolutely on identical pace, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's going to be down to who makes a mistake, really, I guess. Let's hope they can keep it clean.
We've both had offs in this race, so yeah, it's. I don't know if either of them will know that they've had offs, apart from when we've seen Tranter catch right up, and of course, yeah, we saw. Correct myself. We saw Tranter skidding off, and then Batty making his way through. So they both know they've got chinks in the armour, actually, and yeah, if Batty can continue to pressure Tranter, he might make his way through, and those points will be great for the championship to extend Stupidiguru's lead over KCMT.
Yep, that's true. So we've got just about 2 laps to go then, and the gap is now 3 seconds. So whatever the problem Kelly's dealing with, unless it gets increasingly worse, he might have enough time on hand just to hang on.
Well, Batty looking on the inside now. Down into turn 1, just pulled out the slipstream. He's got the inside line this time. Tranter gives him enough space, but Tranter might have the better run out of turn 1 now. Batty's got the position, but Tranter must have that slight pace advantage after taking it a bit wider, and he's also got the benefit of being on the inside as we go into the wagon wheel.
Yeah, if you can get that inside line onto that T3, you can hang your opponent out to dry effectively, can't you?
And Batty took a lot of curb on the inside, went on the grass a little bit. Tranter did, sorry.
As they come down, wow. Batty really looking to the inside there into 5. That was very close.
Speaking of close, that's 2 Williams drivers now. Garlic just ahead of Richards, and well, those guys have been sharing the same piece of track half of this race, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've dropped Dixon a little bit, but now I just wonder if Richards fancies getting back past Garlic. Of course, he let him past earlier, as we saw, but going on board with Batty, that's not where you want to be in this final corner.
Opening the track up as much as he can. So, final lap of the race then. Here goes Batty down to T1. To the outside this time.
Just looking further back as well, the Williams drivers side by side, nose to tail. Tranter seems to have kept Batty off, but yeah, Batty's going to have the inside line now. So it's just a complete mirror of what we saw, or a reversal, should I say, of what we saw last lap.
Yeah, indeed. And 1.3 seconds now is the gap from Kelly to Lyne. This is going to get very close indeed.
Yeah,
Lyne's
really
second faster last lap than Kelly. Sorry to cut you off, Jim. Here we go then. This is... Ow, what a punt. That's not good.
Last lap from Batty, that was... I don't know if he outbraked himself. He had a pace difference. I don't know, but...
Just wanted to get the job done, I guess, but that's unfortunate. We're on board now with our race leader, Gavin Kelly.
He's swerving a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, low fuel. Look at that. Bottom left. So Kelly's now lost all that time. It wasn't from an incident, and he's got Lyne
down the inside. Alpha Blobby in the way there. Look at that. Miller on the grass. David Lyne has won this race. That is unbelievable. Rob Miller comes home second, and Kelly falls to third. And you can see the frustration as he soars away at the wheel. And we cut now to the 2 Williams cars going side by side.
Richards edges it out. Wow, what an absolutely stonking last lap. And Kelly, somehow, after being so serene, like I said, through the race, has ended up in 3rd place.
He's going to be heartbroken. That's just so unfortunate.
A low fuel problem. It wasn't Stephen Batty and Tranter, but yeah, Kelly wasn't facing an issue. He was just facing low fuel.
Yeah, so Batty looks to the inside, but I don't think there was ever a way through there. He could maybe have gone a bit more to the inside, but...
Yeah, Tranter just seemed to be able to take that corner, I thought, so I think that was Tranter's corner to take.
Yeah, so final classification then, David Lyne winning the race from Rob Miller, Gavin Kelly in third place after leading for the entire race until the finish. Then we've got Batty from Tranter, from Richards, from Garlick, Paul Dixon, Winsley comes home in 9th and Hankin in 10th. And finally we've got Jim Kimberley a lap down there at the end, and Gary Jones comes home 12th.
It's unfortunate for Jones, I think. Jones unfortunately out of that race. That just seemed to be nothing of his own doing. It's a shame.
Exactly. Now let's take a look at the drivers' standings then. So David Lyne extending his lead at the top to 146, 21 clear of Rob Miller in second, Gavin Kelly in third, Garlick back up to 4th place in the championship, Tranter 5th, Winslade is fallen to 6th, then we've got Stephen Batty in 7th, Richards in 8th, Dixon 9th, and William Bibby still in 10th place. Gary Jones remains in 11th place, from Hankin now up to 12th. Same points as Kimberley though, that's 15 apiece, and Lawrence Aaron Jenkins is on 14, Burnett 11, and Luke Hollick 0 points. Jim, talk us through the teams.
It's a good race for Stupidiguri. We'll see what happens if any investigation with Batty, but Stupidiguri in first place, Keith Cheggers Memorial Team 15 points behind them, but they've got a bit of a cushion before you get to Williams, who we saw had a lot of screen time this time round. Little and Large, they've got 140 points. They could have jumped ahead if Hankin had kept it on the road, or hadn't had the incident, should I say. It's a bit unfair on Tony. Verge of Grip come home and got 97 points, keeping it just ahead of Dirty Legends, of course won't score any further points. Alpha Blobby in 7th, and Lucky Bibbs, who aren't racing anymore, in 8th.
Let's take a look at some driver quotes then. Poor old Gavin.
Yeah, that first letter, I think you might have guessed what he said.
Yeah. Rob Miller says, lucky result, amazing to get second place after first lap incident, feels so bad for Gavin. And Lyne says he didn't deserve that, but he'll take it, and special thanks to his sponsor Topic. So we've still got
chocolate bars are available.
Absolutely. So stewards' inquiries will obviously be underway regarding the contact with Tranter and Hankin, and obviously Batty and Tranter as well.
Very busy race for the stewards with Tranter, eh?
Yeah, so do head to the website to see what happens next. So next time out we are going back to Japan once again for Scuba, the 2000 track, which is roughly 2 kilometers long. It's a very tight and twisty track, so a bit different from this one. Jim, tell us
hairpins. If you like hairpins, that's a track for you. And just to answer your question, you can find more of my work on medium.com, where I write about Formula One, or on YouTube for my satire series, The F1 Week That Was, or you can follow me on Instagram for a little bit of both, and you can just search for Jim on F1 on any of those.
Thanks, Jim. And don't forget that you can find us at thelimitofadhesion.com. Come and find us at Facebook. It's facebook.com/limitofadhesion. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our videos, and come and check us out on Discord. Well, Jim, that was an amazing race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's another terrific Limit of Adhesion race. That was one of the better ones, I think, as we mentioned and we saw in the quotes. I want to echo the sympathies to Kelly, who fully deserved that victory. But yeah, just looking down the results now, we've got Miller, who finished in second place after starting in third, and after that first lap, who'd have saw that coming?
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
The Drivers' Championship as well. So Lyne 146 points, Miller 125. It's this point of the championship, for those who are just tuning in. This is where we're going to stop scoring points every round, and you'll start having your best 9 results. So it's Lyne has got the advantage, and probably will continue to have an advantage, but it's going to be more and more difficult for him to extend that advantage now. So we'll see if Miller can catch up. Yeah, exactly, and it'd be... Let's see, just trying to think what day's worst result was. Probably Laguna Seca, wasn't it? Where he, I think he scraped home 10th place, so he'd be dropping like a 1-pointer and a few things like that. But and Rob as well. Most of his results are all up in the top 3, aren't they? So yeah, it's going to be
extremely interesting to see when we call it after round 10 at Scuba.
Yeah, I'm quite interested just to see those drop points, how they impact the championship. So, of course, Lyne and Miller have been attending, I think it's every race so far, correct me if I'm wrong. So we'll see two different sorts of championships, a dropped championship, a dropped results championship, and the normal one. We'll just see if there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. Well, Jim, I want to thank you so much for joining me once again.
Always a pleasure.
Cheers, guys. See you next time.